Hey guys, I am Amir Saodat and this is Channel FM. Every week, we have got a brand new awesome story podcast for you. So, sit back, hit play, and let's dive in together. Welcome back to Shadows of New York, the crime drama podcast novel where the rain plays by rules and the rules get people killed. I'm glad you're here. Settle in. Breathe with the city. Chapter 8 begins now. Check. Check. Morning after the skewer. New York woke like it had slept in wet clothes. The streets around Union Square still carried the taste of gunpowder and perfume. Paper crowns, now pulp, clung to drains like drowned royalty. Detective Michael Reid stood where the crossfire had folded into sirens and paperwork, coffee going cold, eyes refusing to. He replaced the moment the Rook stepped back and vanished. Not a retreat, a calculation. A word had come in the night, delivered in a card with a gold edge and a Rook watermark that drank the light. Check. ICU window. At Bellevue, Jessica Clark watched Daniel Morse slip through morphine and monitors. A shoulder wound, a choice made out loud. The nurse adjusted a drip. Jessica adjusted her thoughts. Daniel stirred. Is the city quieter? Jessica shook her head. Only smarter. She took out her recorder and didn't turn it on. Was made bail. Daniel grimaced. Of course he did. Umbra throws gold at locks until they melt. You can testify, Jessica said. You know names. I know corridors, Daniel whispered. Names hide in corridors. Elias Voss is a door, not a room. Evidence cage. Back at the precinct, the evidence cage smelled like dust and a faint afterthought of saffron, as if the ledger were leaving a ghost behind. Michael signed the chain of custody sheet. Sergeant Lenox, property clerk with tired shoes, slid the black book across the mesh. Lenox didn't look up much. When he did, his eyes were a little too clean. You sure you want this thing singing in your hands, detective? It already sings in my head, Michael said, and turned away with the ledger tucked under his arm like a stubborn child. Voice in the vent. In the stairwell, his phone hummed. No caller ID. The Rook again. Voice smooth as a sharpened line. Evidence is heavy when it belongs to someone else. You sent check, Michael said. I don't play chess. You do, the Rook said. You just hate the board. The line died. The stairwell returned to being a tall, empty throat. The argument that matters. In the bullpen, Jessica hovered over a draft with more red than black. We publish enough to burn Umbra's varnish, she said. Ledger exits. Shell companies linked to Voss. Money routes touch Black Umbrella. We don't name your witnesses. We don't blow your arrest. Michael Reid. Jaw tight. You post this. The Rook turns crowds into shields again. The Rook already did, Jessica said. That's why this is news, not a bedtime story. Silence. Then a nod that wasn't permission so much as respect. Hold it 12 hours, Michael said. Let me move the ledger twice. Queen's Whisper. Tommy Rivera sat under a buzzing fluorescence in an interview room the size of a lie. He touched the edge of his bandage and watched the door. Michael slid in with the ledger closed. You want out? Help me map drop flats in Queens. Place where Black Umbrellas sleeps. Tommy smiled without teeth. You don't sleep where you work. You sleep where you feel invisible, Michael said. Tommy blinked. Check cashiers on Northern Boulevard, a billiards place with a back room, a Dominican bakery with a freezer that hums too loud, and an auto body shop that closes at 6 but lights stay on till 2. Michael wrote. Good. Tommy swallowed. You going to keep me alive? I'll try, Michael said. I've been losing the easy promises. Voss runs in place. Elias Voss paced his boutique lab. Shelves of gold leaf. Bottles labeled in French and dollars. He wore a suit that had never seen the MTA. 2 lawyers waited like upholstered threads. You will sit still, one said. Say nothing. Appear dignified. My signature is in their hands, Voss hissed. Your signature pays for the think tanks. The other replied. Dignity is a check that clears. The rest is theater. A soft tap on the glass was turned. A Rook pin rested on the sill outside, too high for a casual joke, too deliberate for wind. He went pale beneath expensive lighting. Test sent. In forensics, a tech waved Michael over. We ran the saffron again. There is an organometallic chelate in the mix. Think traceable tag. The mist marks anything it touches. Like money? Michael asked. Like people, the tech said. And objects. You could swap a sleeve and know where it's been. If you have the key library. Who keeps the keys? Michael asked. The tech held up a printout. Garen's atelier. Umbra. Down at the bottom. Property precinct 7. Evidence. Michael's stomach dropped. Who accessed our cage? Lenox smiled. He found Sergeant Lenox lugging a stack of phones. The man's smile arrived a bit too early. Detective, who signed out the ledger last night? Michael asked. Nobody, Lenox said. Like the weather. Book never left. Funny, Michael said, because it smells like saffron in there. Lennox's smile held. Cities picked up a new perfume. Michael watched Lennox's hand. Clean nails, no leaf, no ink. Umbrella leaning on the wall. Black with a stitched rook you'd only see if you wanted to. Michael wanted to. Where would you get the umbrella? Michael asked softly. Lost and found, Lennox said. Yeah, Michael replied. I keep finding it. Beige line. If there is a leak, you feed it water. Michael called dispatch loud enough for Walls to hear, arranging a decoy transfer of the ledger to a downtown courthouse. Then he moved the real book through a service elevator, down to a temporary vault across the street. He texted Jessica one word, bait. She replied with one word, hook. The meeting that wasn't. Jessica followed a message to a shuttered coffee shop near Canal Street, promising a courier ready to talk. She entered with eyes and elbows first. The bells on the door lied about warmth. A woman sat at the back, face half in shadow. A Rook umbrella leaned against her chair. Miss Clark, the woman said, I can give you routine keys. Jessica stayed near the door. You were at Pier 47. For a moment, the woman said, Names don't matter. Secrets do, Jessica said. Only if you live long enough to print them, the woman replied, and flicked her gaze to a security camera in the corner that was on, in a place that was closed. Jessica's skin prickled. Set up? She asked. Crossfire, the woman said. Run. The back door banged open. Men with umbrellas that never got wet. Jessica moved before fear could. Out through the kitchen, across slick tiles, into an alley where the rain had learned to echo. A hand caught her coat. She twisted, left the coat to the grab, kept the recorder. The woman didn't follow. Some people build their own cages and decorate them with exit signs. The decoy. On Center Street, a New York Police Department van idled, its driver bored. Inside, a box bashfully wrapped like evidence. Sergeant Lennox climbed into the passenger seat without being asked. Orders, he told the driver. We roll. They rolled. A black sedan rolled too. One car black. Two scooters became shadows. The street felt narrower. Halfway to nowhere, Michael stepped out from behind a salted truck and waved the van over a badge and a look that didn't invite interpretation. Change of plan, he said, pulling the box out. Lennox stared, then smiled like a hinge that had finally found oil. Michael put the box on the truck's bumper and opened it. Inside, a blank paper and a note. It's the other box. He turned. Lennox's umbrella hooked his forearm. Michael twisted. The umbrella clattered. The Rook stitch drank a fat raindrop and swallowed it whole. You were better at being invisible, Michael said. Lennox ran. Straight line. Michael followed. Curves learn fast when they have to. The cage burns. By the time Michael reached the precinct, the evidence cage had a smoke where memory should have been, an accelerant, vanilla sweet, saffron sharp licked the metal. Lenox stood inside with a lighter and a face that had decided things for him. "Step out," Michael said. "Gun low." "It's just paper," Lenox said. "Umbra says paper lives in fire." "You're not Umbra," Michael said. "You're a man with a rent bill and the wrong friends." Lenox's eyes shone. "I'm a man who got noticed." He flicked the lighter. Michael fired. The lighter flew. Lenox didn't fall. He flinched, then rushed, then hit the mesh with a sound like a lesson. Michael barreled in, stomped the spill, dragged the ledger from a lower shelf where it lay in a lock box that suddenly had a mythology. Sprinklers coughed. Saffron steam rose. Check felt loud now. Internal Affairs. IAB took Lenox with cuffs and a glare that said, "We should have found you first." In a gray room, under a gray fluorescent, Lenox laughed like a man who had memorized the wrong hymn. "They promised me a line," he told the recorder. "Everybody wants to be a line." "Who promised?" the agent asked. Lenox smiled. "You will hear the voice one day." He looked past the glass to where he guessed Michael stood. He guessed right. "Check," he whispered. The courier who blinked. Jessica caught up with a woman from the coffee shop 3 blocks away. Under a bridge that collected echoes, the woman had blood on her sleeve and a bruise like a bad rumor. "You could have warned me sooner," Jessica said. "I wondered if you could run," the woman said. "Chin up." "Keys," Jessica said. "Give me the routine keys." The woman handed over a laminated card with a grid of numbers and cents. "Each chelate has a frequency. You will need the reader. Umbra hides them in Rook handles." "You're done with them?" Jessica asked. The woman stared at the river. "No one is done. Some of us just get tired." "Name." "Use we. It rhymes with vanish," she said, and did. Reader. In forensics, the Rook umbrella Michael had yanked from Lenox's hand yielded a hollow handle. Inside, a pen-sized wand, a reader with a port for the laminated key, the lap take slotted in, hit a switch, and a soft tone mapped saffron tags on the ledger, the cage, Lenox's sleeve, and a third surface nearby, an evidence transport case not yet logged. Michael peeled it open. Inside, hidden under benign forms, a microledger, a black strip with gold edges, names that didn't want to be names. Umbra took banks to campaigns to museums, straight lines wearing tuxedos. "Check," Michael said, but to the room this time, not the Rook. Cross wires. Jessica posted a whole story. Umbra's aesthetic laundering, the perfume of power, the Crown Theater. She didn't name the microledger. She didn't name Voss directly. She named Rain and Rook and the human cost of straight lines. Her editor called. "They're getting heat." "Good," Jessica said. "Heat is a kind of light." Voss breaks. At home, Voss watched the story climb feeds and trend windows. His lawyers texted him words like defamatory and injunction. His hands texted his pulse and decided faster than the law. He grabbed a passport and a Rook pin, slipped both in a leather folio, and stepped into a hallway that had always loved him. 2 agents waited at the elevator, not smiling. "Mr. Voss," one said, "you're wanted for additional questioning regarding evidence tampering and facilitation." Voss tried the old charm. It clicked, but the lock had been changed. Tommy signs. Under a different fluorescent, Tommy sat with a form and a pen. Witness protection looked like paperwork until it didn't. He glanced up at Michael. "This keeps me breathing?" "It makes killing you loud," Michael said. "Loud saves lives." Tommy signed. His hand shook only at the end, where you write the part that belongs to you. Check. Near midnight, the city's lights flickered. 3 blocks around the courthouse blinked to black, then to emergency glow, as if the grid held its breath. Michael's phone hummed again. He didn't answer. The text read, "Check." A second followed. "When the board is wet, kings slip." Michael looked up at the courthouse steps, where rain had arranged itself into diagonal lines. He felt the next move before he could name it. Across town, Jessica sat on her bed with a routing key and a reader and listened to the city's new quiet. Daniel stared at the ceiling of a hospital that had learned his name. Voss argued with the door that no longer opened for him. Tommy slept with the light on in a motel that hadn't decided if it was hope or camouflage. Somewhere without windows, a hand placed a rook beside a king and let the city see it for just a second. Not mate, not yet. Check. That closes chapter 8. Check. If this move hit you, subscribe, like, and share. We release 1 episode every week. Don't miss chapter 9, because when the lights go out, every piece looks the same until it moves. Until next time, stay in the dark.